Good afternoon. This is Marcia coming at you from Williston, Florida. And this will be number 17 of my Qigong Chi-allenge. And I want to talk to y'all a little bit today about Qi, which is energy. And energy is an electromagnetic force. And it's also a particle, and yet it's also still a wave. So it can travel in little balls of matter, like a particle, or it can travel in waves of potential. And sometimes when we have blockages, like fear can cause blockages, anxiety, guilt, shame, anger, all of these things, they can cause blockages in our energy. And on a physical level, what happens sometimes is we get a physical pain, and so we sort of ignore it because we have to get on with life and get things done. And so we compensate with our bodies, how we move, and we develop body amnesia, which is a way of numbing ourselves, kind of. But in the long run, really what it means is that we're out of balance, our energy isn't functioning properly, there's a blockage. And so in the long term, it can be detrimental to our health and well-being. In the short run, though, it's kind of a gift, it's a blessing. It's a defense mechanism, which we also need. The thing is, we don't need defense mechanisms quite like we used to when we were running away from lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! Most of our stress and things that use up our energy these days, a lot of it's mental fatigue and emotional trauma. And some of this, a lot of it, in fact, most of it, are subconscious programs that we've learned since actually before we were born, when we were in the womb, and we heard our parents talking, mom and dad saying happy things and laughing and being excited to see us come into the world. Or maybe we've heard fighting and not very pleasant things. In either case, we respond, and our bodies respond accordingly, and then we sort of forget about it, and we run through our lives with these background programs, our subconscious programs running. And then as we get older, out of childhood, and we've forgotten how to play, these programs are still running. And then we wonder what's wrong with us. And a lot of it is simply because we forget how energy works, and we forget how to be a child. Here's, the cool thing about being a human being, at least from my perspective of being one, is that we have this amazing ability to imagine things and to create. And thoughts become things. And so, since I have a free will also as a human being, I can choose what thoughts I choose to do. I can choose what actions I'm going to take. And I can rewrite that subconscious program that's been running in the background that maybe isn't doing us any good anymore. I can update it. We update our computers, the software, the firmware, the hardware. We have updates, and we need to keep on top of that. It's part of being vigilant and participating in life. And so when we look at Qi through these eyes and then look at it again as a form of energy, it's changed my perspective a lot about how I think and what I do. And here, I'm going to show you something interesting. I'm sure you've seen the image. I have to get where I can stand and you can see me. I'm sure you all have seen the photograph, is it Da Vinci, of the human out like this. They use it in medical symbols and other areas. But the interesting thing to me about this is that in terms of Tai Chi and Qigong, it shows our 5 bows. Our arms, there's a bow. Our legs have bows. Our entire body has a bow. And if you look at how I'm standing, you can actually picture, and especially with the yin-yang symbol behind me, you can look at Qi, energy, and consider it when it's in an engine, our energy engine. And you can see very easily that it travels in a figure 8, which is, as we know, the symbol for infinity, isn't it? And so energy is that. It can be neither created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed. And since we have free will, we can transform it. So we are co-creators in this process. It's all very interesting to me. It's a little bit of quantum physics, but it all fits in so perfectly with this ancient healing practice called Qigong and Tai Chi, which is a martial art, but it's Tai Chi started before that as Qigong, and that was a healing medical art, and it still is to this day. So let me continue this story a little bit about this week I've been in, where we've had this stalled low pressure system in Florida and affecting a good part of the eastern United States. So basically this entire week for me, in terms of working outside of my little jobs where I do landscaping and gardening and some caregiving, it's been a washout. The ground is way too soggy. We've had flood warnings. There's one house in Williston not far from me that's 5 feet underwater. And so this just really isn't the time to be working outside. And I love all of this stuff because it fits in so perfectly with the story I'm about to tell you, or continue to tell you. Excuse me. As you know, as I told y'all in an earlier video, I've been going round and round with Social Security and Medicare and even Medicaid because I work so weird. As a dementia care partner, part of my story, what happened to me is before I even became a dementia care partner, I was actually fired for an on-the-job injury as an x-ray tech at a hospital because I was told I could no longer pick up more than 20 pounds. And so I went through that whole deal, and really it was kind of shattering to me. It broke a piece of my identity, and that's fine, because sometimes in order to grow and become more, we have to break out of our shells. We have to break the golden ceiling. We have to break out of our eggshell and get out of our comfort zones. And so I was devastated for a while by all of that, but I did get a year of schooling that taught me how to repair computers, and that was great. So then I had a widowmaker heart attack when I was 52 years old. That's been 13 years ago now, just about. Yeah, it happened 13 years ago on June 13th, I think. Anyway, because I was fired from an on-the-job injury at the hospital I worked at, I had lost my insurance. So the cool thing about all this is that the place that fired me ended up saving my life. They paid the entire bill because I no longer had insurance and I qualified for charity care. And then they put me in this 2-year study where they actually took my own stem cells and injected them into the left ventricle of my heart, which had lost 30% of its ability to pump blood. So I didn't have a little heart attack. I had a widowmaker heart attack. And they're called that because only 0.06% of people survive one. So I'm sitting here actually as kind of a miracle of grace, really, when I consider it all. And so all of that happened, and I forgave my ex-employer for letting me go since I couldn't really do the job. And I was convalescing from having a major heart attack, and then we discovered that my wife had younger onset Alzheimer's disease. She's in her 60s, but she was younger than 65, and thus they call it younger onset. So at first, of course, because I'm a medical person and medical people know it all, I was in complete denial. For a year I denied it. Nah, she doesn't have Alzheimer's, no way. And then as a year went by and I was healing and getting over some of my own trauma, physically and emotionally, I realized that, yeah, wow, she does. I went into this weird form of sort of self-pity, depression, bargaining, where I was like, poor me, why me? You know, why is all of this? And I would say things like, God, if that was me, just shoot me. And it was really bad. And I look back on that now and go, wow, I was really unaware on a lot of levels about this stuff. But time goes on and experiences happen, and here I am today. And so as I was healing from the heart attack, and then we discovered Gay Donna has younger onset, we both jumped to like acceptance. And so really, this is what the medical community in this country does with people who have dementia or Alzheimer's. They basically put you through the thing. You go through a MOCA test and a mini mental exam, and, you know, some neurocognitive studies, and maybe you have a brain scan, maybe you don't. It depends on your insurance and your doctors. And then you're told, yep, okay, there's no cure. Here's some pills that may or may not help. They have horrid side effects. And so just get your affairs in order. Go home, get your affairs in order, and I'll see you in 6 months. And so basically that's being told, go home, get ready to die. There's nothing we can do for you. And so we sat there, both me and my wife, for some time period, really depressed. It was horrid, and I was watching Gay Donna slip away right before my eyes. And that spurred me into anger. I came home one day and I said, that's it. I'm angry. I'm pissed off about Alzheimer's, and I'm going to do something about it. And so I popped through to another level, and I got very acquainted with support groups and got educated myself about things and started hunting down resources. And then the 7-year journey continued as I learned more and became much better at being a 24/7 dementia care partner. And trust me, partner is the right word, because there is no giving without receiving. There's no, if you're a caregiver, who are you giving care to? That's the receiver. And it's a partnership, and we learn to communicate, which is the tricky business when it comes to dementia. So where does Qigong and energy fit into all of this? I'm going to go back to what I was saying about energy and our subconscious programs. When we practice, we're playing with our energy field that travels in this cool kind of figure eight. And we can direct it. We can focus where we want it to go. We can heal emotional pain. We can direct energy to, like right now I'm directing it to my circulation, to my feet, to my heart, to get my blood moving. And so we have this ability. It can come in handy in so many areas, and it gets us strong. It makes us flexible, because this practice is not a forced thing. It's not like, here, take this pill and you'll be better. What it is a way of living and learning how to examine yourself and listen to your body, the patient, for cues, for clues. And it's an ongoing process, because we ask the questions, and then we stop and we listen, and we trust the process, and wait for time and space to allow the answers to show up for us. Then we take the appropriate action, whether it's a movement we're doing or whether it's an action we take in our lives outside, getting something accomplished, completed, done, whatever it is. So, back to this story. Today, I'm so finally happy to tell you all that after 6 months of going through this treadmill with Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, I finally have all the pieces in place. And it took that long. There were obviously blockages. They were annoying. And part of all of this is like allowing it. Oddly enough, we can't resist energy. It's futile. We're going to hurt ourselves. Instead, we have to allow it, which means we have to acknowledge it. We have to become aware of it. And then we stop and look at it and see how its energy is flowing, and then we can assess what we need to do to redirect it or whatever it needs. That's how it works. So through this whole process, I've been pretty patient, and I've learned how to laugh about it and just go through, like, this is what I have to do next. And yesterday, in chapter 4, was trying to get the Medicare part completed, and of course the computer went down again, and so I couldn't do anymore, and I just had to laugh. Well, today, finally, it's all fallen into place. And so the point of my story is that I had to allow it, yes. But just as in Qigong and Tai Chi, I had to also apply practice and learn how to redirect the energy so that I can achieve what it is that I'm able as a human being to create and imagine. And it took me 6 months. But now that I have all this in place, I can move forward with what I'm doing, which means I'll be working less and less outside physically, which I love to do, but I'll be able to spend so much more time right here at home, learning more myself as a student of life, and then being a better teacher because of it. And here's how it works again. The teacher is always a student. The student always teaches, the teacher always learns. And it's this ongoing, continual figure 8 energy engine. And when we learn how to plug into it, we just get better and better at it, and we can make things happen faster and easier. And we don't have to resist and fight it. And when we do have things that are blockages, with gentle persistence and reflection, we can change it. Water is energy. Water is soft, and yet it can break granite. It formed the Grand Canyon. And so never ever underestimate the soft power that lies within Qigong and Tai Chi. That's all I have to say about that. And now today I'm going to go practice some energy activation because, woo! I got it done. All right, later.